It's getting harder every week to find new pickup trucks for sale. Then why are thousands of them being parked in giant lots?
Some of America's most popular trucks are failing long before the warranty runs out. Steering locks, engine failures, transmissions snapping in traffic. These are real stories from drivers who thought they were buying dependability. Instead, they got stranded. Which trucks are putting families at risk? Why are mechanics buyers to avoid them at all costs? And could in your driveway be next? Chevrolet Colorado. When truck shoppers stroll into a dealership searching for an affordable midsize pickup, the Chevrolet Colorado is often first names to catch their attention. With sleek styling, manageable size compared to a full-size truck, and promises of rugged capability, it has lured thousands of buyers who wanted both practicality and the dream of owning an all-American pickup without spending full-size prices. Yet beneath the handsome exterior and well-crafted advertising campaigns, the Colorado from the model years 2017 through 2018-2020 hides flaws that develops long before the odometer creeps anywhere near 60,000 miles. Mechanics across the country consistently report that this truck can transform from bargain to burden in a surprisingly short span of ownership. The story of the Chevrolet Colorado is worth revisiting for historical context. General Motors originally introduced the Colorado as a replacement for the S10 pickup during the early 2000s, aiming to give drivers a mid-size option that balanced utility with daily drivability. After disappearing briefly, the Colorado made a grand comeback in the mid-2010s, marketed as the perfect answer for people who did not want a massive truck but still craved a bed and towing ability. The redesign promised bold features, including available diesel power, off-road interior that seemed to close the gap with larger, more luxurious pickups. Consumers flocked to it, and sales numbers surged, convincing many that Chevrolet had built a long-lasting competitor in the mid-size category. Unfortunately, the optimism surrounding the Colorado often collided with harsh mechanical realities. Owners of the 2017 through 2020 model years have reported an unsettling variety of problems that surface early. Among the most notorious issues is the automatic transmission, which has gained a reputation for harsh shifting, unexpected lurching, and in some cases complete failure well before the warranty expires. Transmission specialists describe the design as unusually sensitive to heat cycles, leading to accelerated wear of clutch components. When a transmission fails at 40,000 or 50,000 miles, the repair bill can easily exceed several $1,000s, and many owners feel blindsided by costs that arrive so early in the life of a supposedly durable truck. Steering problems add another layer of frustration. Numerous Colorado drivers have experienced sudden loss of power steering assist, sometimes accompanied by dashboard warning lights, sometimes without any warning at all. The frightening part is that such failures can occur while driving at speed, turning an everyday commute into a safety hazard. Repairing or replacing the steering gear assembly has proven costly, and many dealerships have struggled to source parts quickly. In a vehicle marketed toward young adventurous weekend travelers, these reliability hiccups hang whether the Colorado deserves its reputation for dependability. The electrical system of Colorado also contributes to the negative reliability narrative. Owners have reported issues with the infotainment display freezing or rebooting, backup cameras failing intermittently, and sensors triggering false warnings. While such electronic malfunctions may not always immobilize the truck, they erode trust and add to cumulative repair expenses. For a mid-sized post to deliver peace of mind at a lower price point, these frequent electronic headaches amplify dissatisfaction. Premature engine troubles in the Chevrolet Colorado, including carbon buildup and timing chain wear, added to widespread transmission issues, dragging reliability scores below rivals like the Toyota Ridgeline. Owner stories illustrate the pain, such as a 2018 model requiring a $7,000 transmission replacement by 35,000 miles, turning excitement into stress. While the Colorado offered comfort, four-wheel drive capability, and adventurous trims, durability often collapsed before 60,000 miles, betraying expectations. Experts urge buyers to research history, consult mechanics, and weigh alternatives as 2017 through 2020 models demand extreme caution. But prepare to be surprised once again, because if a smaller, supposedly budget-friendly pickup like the Colorado can stumble so badly, what happens when one of the giants of American truck manufacturing falls short? If you're finding value in this breakdown, hit that subscribe button, write up a comment below with your own truck stories. Now let us roll right into the next entry on our list, where a household name reveals flaws that no one expected. Ford F-150. Across the highways, a few vehicles are as iconic as the Ford F-150. It is the truck that headlined sales charts year after year, often described as the backbone of American pickup culture. Generations of families have relied on it for work, recreation, and everything in between. Yet beneath this legendary reputation lies a hidden chapter that many owners would rather forget. For the model 2015 through 2018, especially with the 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine option, the Ford F-150 revealed flaws that mechanics have repeatedly warned about. Despite its widespread popularity and glowing advertisements, this version of the truck carried risks that emerged shockingly early, sometimes even before the odometer rolled past 60,000 miles. To understand the weight of this issue, it is important to recall what Ford attempted during this period. Ford F-150. Across the highways of North America, few vehicles are as iconic as the Ford F-150. It is the truck that headlined sales charts year after year, often described as the backbone of American pickup culture. Generations of families have relied on it for work, recreation, and everything in between. Yet beneath this legendary reputation lies a hidden chapter that many owners would rather forget. For the model years 2015 through 2018, especially with the 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine option, the Ford F-150 revealed flaws that mechanics have repeatedly warned about. Despite its widespread popularity and glowing advertisements, this version of the truck carried risks that emerged shockingly early, sometimes even before the odometer rolled past 60,000 miles. To understand the weight of this issue, it is important to recall what Ford attempted during this period. Around the mid-2000s, Ford made bold moves to innovate the F-150. The company introduced an aluminum body to save weight, advanced turbocharged engines for improved efficiency, and cutting-edge electronics designed to modernize the driving experience. On paper, the 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine seemed like the perfect solution, a smaller displacement that delivered the power of a larger motor while sipping less fuel. Enthusiasts were intrigued, and many buyers eagerly adopted this new generation, trusting Ford's reputation for durability. At the time, industry magazines praised its towing strength and acceleration, often calling it revolutionary for the segment. Reality, however, proved more complicated. The 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine became infamous among mechanics for carbon buildup inside the intake system. Because the engine relied heavily on direct fuel injection, the design allowed carbon deposits to accumulate on intake valves. Over time, this buildup led to misfires, rough idling, and a noticeable decline in performance. Some owners discovered these issues before hitting 35,000 miles, which should still be considered early days for a truck expected to endure for decades. Cleaning the intake valves required costly service procedures, sometimes exceeding $1,000, and in severe cases, replacement of related components became necessary. Coolant intrusion plagued some Ford F-150 trucks, with leaks into cylinders causing misfires, white smoke, and catastrophic failures between 40,000 and 60,000 miles. Even minor leaks escalated, forcing costly engine replacements that often exceeded the vehicle's resale value, devastating owners financially. The problems did not stop with the engine alone. Timing chain wear emerged as another frequent concern, producing rattling noises during cold starts and risking severe engine damage if ignored. Mechanics explained that the tensioners and guides were not robust enough for long-term use, particularly under heavy towing conditions. While not every F-150 of this generation suffered such failures, the pattern was consistent enough to stain the reputation of the 2.7-liter EcoBoost variant. Drivers who purchased the truck believing it could carry them reliably to 200,000 miles often found themselves budgeting for major repairs before even reaching 60,000. Electronic systems also contributed to frustration. The advanced infotainment platform introduced during these years promised smartphone integration and voice controls, but owners reported frequent freezes, unresponsive touchscreens, and software bugs. While such glitches may seem less severe than mechanical breakdowns, they added insult to injury when paired with high repair bills for engine or transmission issues. After all, buyers investing $30,000 or more expected both performance and dependability, not endless service appointments. Real-world owner experiences highlight the Ford F-150 EcoBoost's heartbreak, such as a 2016 model developing coolant intrusion at 42,000 miles, leaving a repair bill exceeding $7,000 and endless warranty battles. Despite strengths like aluminum weight savings, class-leading safety, and thrilling acceleration, durability reliability issues overshadowed benefits. The lesson is clear. Popularity does not guarantee reliability. Buyers considering 2015 through 2018 models with the 2.7-liter EcoBoost should scrutinize service history, arrange pre-purchase inspections, and budget carefully, while many mechanics advise safer trims or rival brands for long-term dependability. One truth stands tall. The Ford F-150 may reign as a sales champion, but not every version deserves the crown of reliability. And if the nation's top-selling truck can fall from grace, just wait until you hear what happens when another household name promises strength but delivers disappointment. The countdown continues, and the next entry will remind you that luxury branding does not always mean freedom from financial pain. Ram 1500? Some trucks capture attention not just for their muscular styling, but also for the promise of something revolutionary under the hood. The Ram 1500 offered just that during the model years 2016 through 2019, when the company heavily promoted its EcoDiesel engine. At first glance, this seemed like the perfect blend of rugged strength and modern efficiency, a power plant that could tow, haul, and cruise long highway miles while delivering fuel economy figures that rivaled mid-sized sedans. Buyers dreamed of traveling farther with fewer fuel stops, of conquering tough jobs without draining their wallets at every pump. Yet as time unfolded, the EcoDiesel-equipped Ram 1500 proved to be a gamble that left too many owners stranded with expensive repairs long before the odometer ever displayed 60,000 miles. To appreciate why this truck drew so many enthusiasts, we must revisit its historical context. By the mid-2000s, American manufacturers faced rising demand for efficiency without sacrificing capability. Diesel technology promised an answer, offering strong torque for towing alongside respectable miles per gallon ratings. RAM seized the moment by marketing the EcoDiesel as an innovation that would change the half-ton pickup game. It sounded brilliant, a 3.0-liter turbocharged V6 diesel that blended workhorse grit with commuter practicality. Early reviews glowed with praise, noting smooth highway performance and impressive towing manners. The EcoDiesel earned awards and sparked excitement among drivers who wanted something different from the typical gas-guzzling V8 engines. However, what looked like progress on paper often unraveled in the service bays of dealerships and independent shops across the nation. One of the most infamous problems involved the oil cooler system. Owners reported coolant leaks mixing with engine oil, a nightmare scenario that contaminated lubrication pathways and led to accelerated wear. When coolant invaded engine oil, bearings, pistons, and other internal parts suffered catastrophic damage. In severe cases, full engine replacements became necessary, sometimes before 40,000 or 50,000 miles. Mechanics shook their heads, pointing out that the repair costs for such failures could climb beyond $8,000, erasing any savings drivers hoped to achieve from better fuel economy. Emissions equipment presented another widespread source of trouble. The EcoDiesel relied on complex systems to meet stringent environmental standards, including exhaust gas recirculation coolers and diesel particulate filters. While effective in theory, these components often clogged, overheated, or cracked. Drivers experienced dashboard warning lights, reduced power modes, and frustrating trips to the dealer. Replacing emissions components was rarely cheap, with bills often surpassing $3,000 or $4,000. Worse yet, such issues sometimes repeated, turning ownership into a cycle of repair rather than a celebration of innovation. For truck owners expecting to pass down their RAM to the next generation, the disappointment cut especially deep. Fuel system complications further tarnished the EcoDiesel reputation. High-pressure fuel pumps occasionally failed, contaminating injectors and causing rough running or total engine shutdowns. Mechanics frequently reminded customers that diesel systems operate under extreme pressures, meaning that once contamination occurs, nearly the entire system requires replacement. That meant thousands more in parts and labor. For many families, such expenses arrived just as loan payments still loomed, producing financial stress that overshadowed the joy of owning a brand new truck. A 2017 Ram 1500 EcoDiesel owner praised comfort and efficiency until 45,000 miles, when an exhaust gas recirculation cooler failed, costing $4,000. Months later, a fuel pump failure pushed repairs beyond $9,000 before 50,000 miles. The Ram 1500 EcoDiesel faced legal and regulatory troubles when investigations exposed inaccurate emissions claims, triggering fines, recalls, and software updates that left owners feeling betrayed, with some reporting reduced performance or fuel economy afterward. Once celebrated as the future of efficient trucking, the engine became linked to lawsuits and corporate controversy. Still, the Ram platform impressed with comfort, luxury, and smooth coil spring suspension, drawing loyal buyers. Yet costly failures erased those strengths, with mechanics warning that savings in fuel could not outweigh early breakdowns. experts now advise thorough inspections or avoiding 2016 through 2019 EcoDiesel models entirely. As we leave behind the cautionary tale of the RAM EcoDiesel, our countdown edges closer to the most shocking names of all. Because if a truck with such innovative promise could crumble so quickly, what might we uncover when turning to a brand that practically built its identity on off-road freedom and adventurous spirit? Stay tuned, because the next truck on our list reveals exactly how a bold newcomer failed to live up to its legendary badge. Jeep Gladiator? When Jeep announced the return of a pickup to its lineup, enthusiasts across the country erupted with excitement. The idea of combining the rugged Jeep Wrangler heritage with the practicality of a truck bed seemed almost too good to be true. After decades of anticipation, the Jeep Gladiator rolled onto showroom floors in the model years 2020 and 2021, immediately capturing attention with bold styling and promises of adventure-ready toughness. It was marketed as the truck for explorers, weekend warriors, and loyal Jeep fans who wanted more utility without giving up the off-road freedom associated with the brand. Yet, as quickly as anticipation soared, reality came crashing down. The first model years of the Jeep Gladiator revealed alarming reliability problems, many of which surfaced shockingly early, sometimes before owners crossed the 60,000-mile threshold. The roots of the Gladiator stretch back to Jeep's storied history. In the 1960s, Jeep offered a pickup under the same Gladiator name, a model beloved for its durability and unique styling. By reviving the nameplate decades later, Jeep tapped into nostalgia while offering something fresh in a crowded market. Buyers expected the rugged dependability of a Wrangler combined with the everyday practicality of a mid-size truck. The marketing campaign highlighted removable doors and roof panels, trail-rated badges, and adventurous imagery. On paper, it looked like the perfect marriage of lifestyle and utility. But behind the glossy brochures lurked engineering growing pains that turned early adopters into unwilling test subjects. One of the most notorious issues involved the automatic transmission. Reports poured in from mechanics and owners describing rough shifts, hesitation between gears, and in some cases, complete transmission failure well before 50,000 miles. Transmission fluid leaks and overheating compounded the problem, creating scenarios where a brand new Gladiator required thousands of dollars in repairs. While Jeep attempted software updates and warranty fixes, the core problems often reappeared. Owners who expected to tow boats or haul equipment discovered their truck could barely handle daily commuting without reliability scares. Electrical gremlins added another layer of frustration. The Gladiator's modern infotainment system promised seamless smartphone integration and off-road specific displays, but many drivers found the screens freezing, rebooting, or going black entirely. Sensors responsible for safety features sometimes malfunctioned, triggering false alarms or disabling functions. More troubling were random no-start conditions, leaving drivers stranded without explanation. Mechanics identified wiring harness issues and inconsistent grounding points as root causes, but repairs were not always straightforward. In many cases, repeated dealership visits failed to solve the underlying defects. Suspension components also drew criticism. Owners reported premature wear of control arms and steering components, leading to wobble at highway speeds or clunks over bumps. In a vehicle marketed as off-road ready, such weaknesses undermined confidence. Imagine heading out on a trail adventure only to worry whether your steering would behave properly on the drive back home. For a brand that built its image on conquering rugged landscapes, these suspension concerns felt like a betrayal. Engine-related complaints appeared as well, particularly with the 3.6-liter Pentastar i6, an otherwise proven motor used across the Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep lineup. In the Gladiator's first model years, some drivers experienced excessive oil consumption, ticking noises from valve train components, and misfires. While not every engine suffered, enough cases emerged to make buyers nervous. The combination of engine quirks, transmission fragility, electrical issues, and suspension wear created a storm of reliability concerns that eroded the Gladiator's reputation almost as soon as it launched. Owner stories illustrate the Jeep Gladiator's struggles, such as a 2020 Rubicon owner facing transmission failure at 38,000 miles, costing $6,500, followed by a $2,000 infotainment repair, turning joy into stress. Recalls for drive shaft defects, clutch pressure plate risks, and airbag software flaws added to unease, revealing rush development. Though the Gladiator offered removable panels, off-road capability, and iconic style, its reliability collapsed early, forcing some to consider trading out quickly. Mechanics warn that first model years carry risks, advising buyers to seek later versions after improvements. The Jeep Gladiator's early promise turned into an expensive gamble for too many loyal fans. And as our countdown nears its peak, prepare for a revelation that strikes even closer to home. Because if a newcomer like the Gladiator can stumble so badly, what happens when a trusted American full-size workhorse reveals flaws that drain wallets at an even faster pace? The final entry will shock anyone who believes tradition alone can protect against modern reliability failures. GMC Sierra 1500. For generations, the GMC Sierra has symbolized American strength, a truck built to handle job sites, long hauls, and family road trips with equal confidence. By the mid-2010s, the Sierra 1500 stood tall as one of the most recognizable full-size pickups on the road, commanding attention with its bold styling and luxurious Denali trim levels. Buyers saw it as a workhorse wrapped in refinement, the perfect balance between power and prestige. Yet hidden beneath the polished chrome and rugged marketing promises was a flaw that turned ownership into a financial nightmare for far too many drivers. The 8-speed automatic transmission offered in the Sierra 1500 between the model years 2014 and 2017 became notorious for problems surfacing long before trucks reached 60,000 miles. To understand why this issue proved so devastating, consider what GMC was trying to accomplish. Competitors like Ford and Ram were experimenting with advanced powertrains, and General Motors wanted to showcase modern engineering. The 8-speed automatic was introduced as a leap forward, promising smoother shifts, improved fuel economy, and enhanced towing confidence. At launch, critics praised its quick gear changes and efficiency gains. Advertisements portrayed it as the future of full-size trucks. For buyers who trusted GMC's long-standing reputation, there seemed little reason to doubt that this innovation would serve faithfully for hundreds of thousands of miles. However, in practice, the 8-speed automatic quickly developed a reputation that mechanics dreaded. Owners began reporting harsh shifts, delayed engagement, and sudden lurching during acceleration. What should have felt smooth instead felt unpredictable and, at times, unsafe. Some drivers described the sensation as being rear-ended when the truck suddenly slammed into gear. Others noticed shuddering at steady highway speeds, a symptom tied to torque converter failure. These problems were not isolated, but widespread, often appearing between 30,000 and 50,000 miles, far earlier than any owner should expect. For a truck marketed as a premium, long-lasting investment, the disappointment cut deep. Repair shops soon discovered that the transmission design had vulnerabilities. Fluid contamination caused by factory-filled transmission fluid led to slipping and vibration. Even after fluid flushes, the issues often returned. Mechanics explained that the torque converter clutch materials degraded prematurely, creating a cycle of wear that contaminated the fluid further. Replacement torque converters cost thousands of dollars, and complete transmission replacements ran well beyond $5,000 or $6,000. Many drivers faced these bills just as their warranties expired, a timing that left them scrambling for solutions. Stories from owners highlight the heartbreak. Imagine purchasing a brand new 2015 Sierra Denali with excitement, enjoying the powerful V8 engine and plush interior. By 42,000 miles, the transmission begins to slam into second gear violently. The dealership replaces the torque converter under warranty, only for the same issue to reappear less than 10,000 miles later. Once the truck surpasses the warranty limit, the cost falls squarely on the owner, with repair bills exceeding $7,000. Instead of serving as a dependable companion, the Sierra becomes a source of anxiety every time the key is turned. The 8-speed transmission issues in the GMC Sierra did not exist alone, as owners also faced electronic glitches, engine troubles, frozen infotainment systems, flickering backup cameras, and false sensor warnings that made the truck feel unreliable. These added frustrations highlighted the bigger problem. A full-size pickup is a major financial investment meant to last well beyond 150,000 miles, yet catastrophic failures sometimes struck before 60,000, leaving buyers with loans and repair bills simultaneously. While the Sierra offered comfort, strong V8 power, and towing confidence, the flawed transmission overshadowed these strengths. Mechanics often advise avoiding 2014 through 2017 models entirely. As we conclude this countdown, the message is undeniable. Even the most celebrated trucks can stumble. The GMC Sierra 1500 with the 8-speed automatic transmission stands as a reminder that innovation without durability delivers only disappointment. Buyers lured by its bold styling and luxury trimmings often found themselves trapped in a cycle of costly repairs before reaching 60,000 miles. And while loyalty to tradition runs deep, the reality is that modern reliability must always outweigh marketing promises. promises. Choosing wisely can mean the difference between years of dependable service and a financial headache that arrives long before the odometer justifies it. And that's the full countdown of trucks mechanics warn could fail long before they should. If your vehicle appeared on this list, don't panic, but do stay alert, keep service records, and budget wisely. The good news is, knowledge gives you power, and you're already ahead of most drivers who never see these warnings until it's too late. So protect yourself by liking this video, sharing it with friends, and subscribing right now. More deep dives are coming, and you don't want to miss the one detail that could save you thousands.